guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Amanda Ray, and this is my friend Calvin Wayman. We both left, let's say it at the same time. Ready, set, go. We both left a polygamous cult. Good job. Okay. We're going to do a little segment. I kind of want to say, because we just kind of jumped into that segment.
That's great.
In the next clip, it's I am Emma Smith, and he is Joseph Smith. You can just put it
like on the screen, just say Emma Smith or Joseph Smith, whatever.
Emma Smith, Joseph Smith.
Yeah. Emma, I have something to tell you.
Yes, Joseph?
So Fanny Alger, our,
little girl,
our
Fanny?
our 14-year-old.
Little baby Fanny?
Yeah, our little housemate.
Yes.
So you're never going to believe this, but...
What is it, Joseph?
An angel came to me with a drawn sword, and, well, the angel said he was going to kill me unless I did something.
What was it? Read her the scriptures, I presume?
No, he said I must do something with Fanny Alger in the barn.
What? What did you do to Fanny in the barn, Joseph?
I didn't want to do it, but I had to, Emma. I'm supposed to marry her.
Little baby Fanny? Who told you? Moroni? Where's Moroni?
It was Moroni. It was the angel Moroni. He said I had to, Moroni. Yeah. Otherwise, I was gonna.
So you're telling me that Moroni told you to boink little baby Fanny, or you were gonna die?
It was a commandment, Emma.
From where?
From Moroni.
I think the flaming sword was your penis.
Well, that's the thing. He's like, if you don't use your sword, I'm gonna use mine. And I mean, my hands were tied, Emma. I didn't know what else to do, so it had nothing to do with me just, wanting. It had
so you didn't like it?
Not at all. No, I did not.
It wasn't even fun?
No, not at all. Yeah, I hated it, but I had to, and God is also saying that I have to do it with, like, dozens of others as well, so.
And what about me? Do I get to do that?
What?
To test my loyalty?
Women can't love multiple men. Oh. No.
So wait. If I go do exactly what you did,
you'll go to hell.
Oh.
That's adultery.
Oh. So when you do it, though, then you get to the celestial kingdom. But when I do it, it's no, bad.
Yeah, because, well, commandments are commandments.
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do? And that's how the conversation went with Joseph and Emma.
I thought that Emma walked in on him doing it.
There's a rumor. It's all third party. I've also found something where Fanny Alger's uncle or something showed up to the farm and caught Joseph, like, boinking. I love that word.
Boinking?
Boinking
Fanny?
in the barn.
Oh, boinking in the barn. Did Fanny stay with him her whole life?
I don't think so. She left and never talked about it. There's no record of...
Fanny?
There's no record of her talking about it.
Oh my
There was always rumor. But of course, just like good old Joseph does, there's the history of how something happened. Like he talks about, like, there's the whole, like, he has this whole story of, like, I was commanded of God before he boinked Fanny. But he didn't start talking about boinking or polygamy or anything until after he got caught.
Yeah.
And what it looks like to me, if I can look at this from the lens of just, let's call it what it is, Joseph Smith is like a human. He's not there's not this special thing called prophet that can speak for God or whatever. I think he took advantage of his position. Mm-hmm. I think he had sex with his 14 or 15-year-old housemate, Fanny Alger. He got caught. It was threatening his
leadership position.
His position as a prophet. He's being questioned. He needed some way to wrap it up. And so he's like, the angel came and was going to kill me. He said I must. And I was like, please, no. But Emma, what about Emma? Can't go. Stab your sword.
Stabby.
If you don't stab your sword in Fanny, I'm going to slit your throat. Like, it's just so not.
Do you think Emma was like, bullshit?
Totally. Oh, there's tons of evidence where Emma had major issues.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until there's fucking revelations, and this pisses me off so much if you look at Joseph Smith's revelations. He gets people to do shit from his revelations. When he's creating the Book of Mormon, this revelation comes from God to tell this dude that had, I think his name's Martin Harris,
Okay.
He says, I just want to confirm if that's
I remember the story. It was on South Park, actually. We're like, dum, da, dum, dum, dum.
Dum, 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 dum. Many people believe Joseph. Dum, 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 dum.
And there was that's actually how I learned this. One of the wives of one of the men that was so like faithful to Joseph, she was like, hey, let's take these papers of the scriptures, and if it's truly from God, then Joseph Smith can word for word rewrite it.
So that's
right?
Martin Harris. That's Martin.
That's the same person?
So yeah, same person.
Okay.
His so Martin Harris, he had this revelation that, again, Joseph Smith didn't have the money to print the Book of Mormon. So a revelation came from God to Martin Harris: mortgage your farm so that my servant Joseph can create the book. And then he
did it?
Fuck yeah, he did.
Oh,
we wouldn't be here. The book didn't exist unless Martin Harris did that. And his wife, Martin Harris's wife, was like having a tissy fit, being like, Martin, you're getting scammed. Joseph is
smart.
a scam. Mm-hmm. I've heard rumors that he scammed people out of money. No, he's a prophet. I can show you the pages. Like, it's divine. It's of God. Mm-hmm. And he brought the pages to her. Joseph didn't want her to, but he did. And then she took it and like, if he is of God, he'll do it again.
Yeah, so she hides for anyone that's listening, so she hides the papers so that Joseph Smith could rewrite it word for word, because he's seeing it from God, the seer stones, right? The seer stones in his head. So if he is the prophet of God, he'll be able to word for word rewrite the scripture that they just lost, quotation marks. And what happened next?
Well, Joseph was never going to be able to reproduce his whatever the fuck he came up with. And so another revelation came from God and said, I am disappointed in my servant Joseph and Martin Harris for doubting me. And so that part of the scripture shall never be returned. And so they didn't even reprint it because they were like, nope, God punished us. So
the reality is Joseph Smith couldn't remember.
and he didn't even want the putting himself in the position where people could tell or argue his prophetness.
Yeah.
But back to the Joseph Smith and Emma conversation, he creates a freaking revelation to Emma that's basically telling her that she better get on board with this polygamy thing, otherwise she's going to be destroyed. Mm-hmm. She better support her husband Joseph. What a cunt, Joseph. Yeah. What an asshole. Like, he did that.
She's in this position of like, I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't.
Yeah.
Because you're the prophet.
What a dick. And he's done that with so many things, like getting people to give him money, getting people to... He has revelations that make people go on missions.
Yep. And then he would marry their wives.
Yeah, while they're gone.
Yep.
It's bananas.
So when people in the LDS church, I'm trying really hard not to offend LDS people, because this is the history. And if you research it, you will find all these stories. But the thing that LDS people say a lot is, well, Joseph needed to bring these women to heaven. They didn't have the chance, blah, blah, blah. The priesthood men. That doesn't make sense, because they were married to some priesthood men, and then he would send those men on missions and marry those wives. So what was that about? A test of loyalty?
It's horrible.
That story, though, the Joseph Smith story and Emma Smith, that started the whole polygamy, which is why we had to be born in a polygamous cult. Uh-huh. And this is my... Yeah. They live to this day still. My dad is married to 3 wives. First wife is my mom's sister. Third wife is his own half sister. Your dad has 4 wives.
5 now.
5?
He got another wife within the last year or 2. Yeah, 5 now.
No.
Yeah.
So how many siblings do you have now? Technically, did she have kids?
She had kids.
Okay.
Because her husband left the religion or something. But yeah, she's not gonna have any more kids. But yeah.
Wow. So this is my... Is it on?
I think so. Okay, we're good.
I
was so nervous.
Yeah, because the last clip, we didn't even have these on, and we was like holding the mic the whole time. But this leads me to my first question for you as a man. Do you think you can actually be in love with more than one person at a time? Like at the same time, can you be in love with multiple partners?
Sure. Yeah.
How?
I don't know if that's for me, but I don't know how. The only thing I know is the world is so big and diverse, and there's so many different ways and styles of love, and the only thing that I can do is trust other people that are like in different relationship dynamics, and they talk about having this deep love for multiple people. They compare it to different things, like a mother trying to choose a favorite child. It's difficult to do.
But is that being in love, like a mother and their child, is that in love?
I don't know.
I guess it depends on your definition of love. Because in my personal opinion, Cody Brown, when he talks about, and I have a video on my channel if you guys want to watch me critiquing Cody Brown, he talks about how he married his 3 wives, and he's like, I just fell in love, and then I fell in love again, and I fell in love again. And I'm like, dude, I don't think you even have the capacity to love that deeply when you're still searching. You're focused on searching for more and more and more. And if you're so deeply in love with someone, you're so happy, why are you still looking? You know what I mean?
Valid point. So what do you think? You don't think
I think same thing. For me personally, I cannot wrap my brain around, and for everything I've seen in the order, and my opinion is somewhat valid because I came from a cult where I watched all these people living polygamy saying that they love their partner, blah, blah, blah. But I saw my dad picked a favorite wife.
Okay.
There's always, and sometimes the favorite wife moves around, which whoever's being too bitchy that week, which that's also not true love, right?
Totally.
In my opinion. So there becomes favorites. There becomes ones that the man spends more time with. Even the leader, everybody knows who he has 2 favorite wives. And for some reason, they're the hottest ones. This is weird.
Shocker.
But that also, is that love or lust?
I don't think that's love. So it's interesting because if I'm looking at the cults, I don't think I ever really saw that in the cult. I never saw
true love
ever from any relationships that were polygamous.
You know what I think too? Sorry, before I lose this thought. If they did have true love, they wouldn't be able to cut their kids off in that way because they're capable of this deep rooted love. They wouldn't be able to, fuck my kid, go out in the world, you're not my kid anymore. They can't be capable of loving that deep, or else they would not be able to make those decisions.
Yeah, I think there's something valid there. If you're capable of that love, how can you just disconnect so easily? The love that I'm talking about, the example of loving multiple partners, has been outside of it and just being around people that are in like polyamorous relationships or open relationships. The other thing too, in our respective cults, it wasn't equal. There wasn't like we're all in this together. It's like I'm the man in charge and I'm having multiple wives. Like, I don't know. It's just different. It's like
that is a sexist form of love because the women aren't allowed to have it, but the men are.
Yeah, exactly.
But I guess the polyamory aspect of it, I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of that. I just feel like for me to love so deeply, to have 2 partners, it would really make me feel like I'm cutting it in half. And then I would get mixed up and I would get confused.
And that's valid. That's the only thing. Yeah, the only thing I have to work off of is just looking and watching people talk about it. There's also books like Sex at Dawn and other. I haven't fully read that book, but the gist of that is a different way of love, a different way of having different kinds of partnerships and that sort of thing. And I've interacted with people in polyamorous relationships, and they do seem to be like truly deeply in love with multiple people. Again, I don't know. The thing for me, I thought my entire life that I was going to be a polygamist. And so I was already there in terms of like being with multiple partners. I've kind of gone the other way where I'm like, I don't know if I could be deep with the depth of love that I want to experience with multiple people. Like, I think there's this something to be said about dividing and conquering the world with a partner,
like a ride or die.
Yeah, that's been fresh for me in the last year. Again, we had talked about this on the rooftop the other night. Like that was a rebellious feeling thought. That's like, wait a minute, I actually
want monogamy.
Yeah, I may want monogamy, which was like a bad thing in my upbringing. But I think at the end of the day, who am I to say? Just like I can't say for anybody that's a true, genuine, free adults doing what they want to do that they can or can't
be in love with multiple people.
Yeah. You can only do what works for you.
That's a good perspective. To me, it's so hard to believe because of I guess I haven't met a lot of people in polyamorous, and the ones I have met, it never really works because, like, I know someone they were a couple and then they brought a third in, and then the third was like messing up the juju of things, so then they pushed the third out.
Yeah.
So I feel like if I mean, I can't see it personally, but I think you have a good perspective of there's got to be some people that have figured it out. But to me, in my brain, I'm the same way as you. Like, I really do feel like the depth of love that I want to experience, I think the juju gets fucked up when it's more than one person.
Yeah.
For me.
I think it's valid.
Monogamy.
All the way.
And I do feel like polygamy, well, obviously, we've discussed this, it's because it turns into, it's not about love. It's about And I've seen this too.
Totally.
Like, this wife, Cody Brown even does this. This wife is the domestic one. She does the laundry, and this wife does these things, and this wife. So then they get all these roles, and it's kind of like he's the king of the house, and it creates narcissism.
Fuck yeah, it does.
Because his time is so valuable, and like, oh, thank you for spending like 2 minutes of your time with me. And then he's like, I'm so great, and all the kids are fighting for his attention. So then it builds on accident these narcissists.
That's so freaking true. Holy crap! And in my culture, like, if for some reason the man sitting at the head of the table was it was like his throne. Everybody gathers around the table. Everybody gathered around my grandfather's table, just waiting for him to say something. And my dad did the same thing. Everybody waiting for him to talk. And they become like these medieval like kings, like talking
their own kingdom.
That is interesting.
Did you guys so we had this class where they would talk about how it was like a church meeting. They had this piece of paper that they passed around, how women should be preparing for when their husband comes home. There should be a meal cooked. The house should be clean. Let him tell about his day first. And if he still has energy to listen to your day, then you can talk about your day.
I heard about some book like this in the freaking
1950s.
shiny happy people cult.
Really?
But we didn't have like a workbook, but we definitely had these types of things being talked about in church.
Yeah. It's like the old way of thinking, but it's also like it breeds this narcissism and creates a lot of narcissistic men.
Mormonism is filled with narcissism. It's like built on it because you're like the hero of everything. You have the
But
priesthood.
if you think about it too, in the olden days, like everyone must have been narcissists. Every man, because women couldn't even go to school. Women had like when you get married, that's why you change your last name, because you become his. Which I am so anti that now. Like I don't want to. I changed my last name when I was married, and I regretted it. Well, I didn't even want to do it, but he was like, "You don't want my last name." I'm like, "No, I don't," because he had a sister with my same name. So now we're the same exact name.
Oh wow.
There's no like originality.
Yeah.
A-R-P. We had the same initials. A. Amanda. R.
Oh frick.
Yeah.
Yeah, history has got to be filled with them. Like there's all these, like I went to Paris and London, and there's all these like medieval statues of what kings and rulers made for themselves, and it's like, oh, I'm so great that I want to be remembered in history.
They have this legacy.
Yeah.
Do you feel like if you would have stayed, you stay in your polygamous cult, living that life, you would have became a narcissist?
Yes.
Were you on your pathway to a narcissist?
I question, like...
Is that a hard one?
That's a great one. Yeah. I mean, I think if you're in that environment and you're getting all that validation about being the one with the priesthood power...
Mm-hmm. It's like hard
it's the
not
ground
to
for
be
it. Yeah,
a narcissist.
I
you
think
have to rebuke it. You have to be like,
exactly.
Stop it!
I actually, like, I'm always questioning myself, am I acting narcissistic right now? Like, for me, I think of it as like on a spectrum. Mm-hmm. And living here in New York, I actually had an actress give me this strange idea that I kind of think that, so we're all on this spectrum of narcissism on some level, with where we're overvaluing our own self-importance over other people. And this actress made me realize, she talked about getting rejected for casting. And I was like, how often are you going to like getting casted and doing all these, like, I hope I get something? She's like, multiple times a day. And I was like, especially if it's a role you really wanted and you're not, how do you protect, because you're the product.
Yeah.
And like, she says, well, I do something that would not be healthy if I did this in large doses. This is not the right attitude to have overall in my personal relationships or even driving a car. But she essentially said, I have a moment of intermittent narcissism, where for that moment, right after the rejection, she tells herself, do these motherfuckers know who they're talking to? I'm coming up. I'm the best actress in this city.
You're gonna regret this.
You're gonna regret this. What the fuck is? They're idiots. Those guys are problematic. What fucking idiots that they rejected me. I cannot wait until I'm on that Netflix special. I cannot wait.
I'm just gonna rub it in their face.
Exactly. They're gonna see me on Instagram someday and like, oh my gosh, we could have casted her and she's so popular.
They're gonna be talking about this
People could have
moment.
come back to this movie. And she says, so I do that. And I was like, holy cow. I don't know I don't understand the evolutionary reasoning for narcissism rising in society, probably because of social media and all that other sort of stuff. But when I heard that, I was like, okay, you got a point. And so, of course, it's not good to be narcissistic, like, as a rule. But then I'm like, I can see that being valuable. Maybe be an intermittent narcissist every once in a while. And maybe,
as
maybe
long
it
as
helps
you're
you.
very self-aware,
Yeah.
I think that's the key to it, because narcissists are not self-aware. That's the main problem. They're not going to hold themselves accountable. They're not self-aware. It's everybody else's problem, not their own.
That's what my therapist said once. One time I show up and I'm like, I'm just worried about, like, what if, because I'm doing this, I'm making my own life now. I have my family that's back there. They're doing things that I want to do, and I'm prioritizing my own needs and what I care about, where I live and everything. Like, what if I'm a narcissist? Like, what if I'm doing this? And then she said, narcissists wouldn't be asking that question.
Yep, the fact
so
that
I
you're
was like,
asking that.
okay.
Yeah, and the fact that too, like, for me, I was like, I want to make sure, and I went to the list of the rules of a narcissist, and I did relate to one of them.
Which one?
Jealousy of other people and comparing myself to other people. That's what.
Oh man, that's a bit like that's
I do that
that's
a
so
lot.
human though.
I
That's so human.
know. I feel like I'm like, is that a narcissistic thing? I do. I get
There's a list
jealous.
of multiple things though, right? So you're like, these
Yeah,
are
there's
all the
if
traits.
you have 7 out of 9, then you have NPD.
Ooh.
I have 1 out of 9, sometimes 2. So, like the intermittents, like sometimes it comes out. Culty Amanda definitely had a lot more. Toxic Amanda definitely had a lot, because when you're hanging around all the narcissists, you don't even notice that these traits are negative. You're just like, everybody has these traits.
Yeah.
But my question for you though, because I've pondered this.
We got like 5 minutes. But
5 minutes. Okay, last question. It'll be quick. And maybe we'll leave you guys to decide the answer to this. But what do you think, because there are recovering narcissists, there are people that finally get to an age and they become realizing that their ways were holding them back, and they want to accept and love everyone. Like, a lot of times it's like people that had a gay child and they realize later on, like, I was being way too fucked up to my gay kid just because they're gay. What do you think is the click that makes the light bulb go on in a narcissist?
being smacked right in the face with reality.
What does that look like?
I think it can take a lot of different forms, but I think something happens where, I don't know, you just get slammed up with some part of reality where, because you thought that you were there's another term, it's like that you're the main character in all of life. And you learn that you're just like one character of many freaking characters. And there's just something that happens that makes you realize, okay, I'm not a big fucking deal. I'm not the big deal that I thought I was, whether it's a breakup that happens or somebody doesn't see you the way that you saw you, but something happens somewhere that you're like, okay, there's something that humbles you. There's something that humbles you. And I think that's what triggers it. 'Cause I've seen it happen with family members where they got, like, reality was like a freight train and they were going one way thinking that they understood everything the way things worked. And then this freight train called reality just plows them over and they're like humbled.
So it has to be a very big life experience for them to ever take that time to reflect.
Yeah, I don't think recovering narcissism happens gently. I think it happens like a big fucking slap in the face.
I agree with that. Let us know in the comments down below if you agree with us or disagree. Smash that dislike button.
Smash that dislike button. We need dislikes once in a while just to humble us, right?
You know what? YouTube doesn't show the dislikes, though. I miss it because I like to know how many order members were watching because they're like, dislike. That's how I knew.
Yeah. So maybe YouTube is making it easier to become a narcissist too. But like, you're just like, oh, look at everybody that just loves
Everybody
me.
loves me. But I guess Instagram doesn't have a dislike button either.
That's true.
So, anyway, thank you guys for watching. This is Calvin Wayman. Go watch his podcast. You want to talk about your podcast for a second?
Yeah, I just launched it. It's called Cultured, now streaming on Spotify and YouTube. So video podcast, Cultured, talk about high demand, religion, leaving everything, life after it, trying new things, bringing other people on that talk about, that are impacting culture in some way. But yeah, just living life and doing things outside of a cult.
And we'll leave the links to all your stuff in the description box down below.
Which we had several episodes, so they're there.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Go watch me on his channel too.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you on Called a Cup of Coffee on Sunday. Bye. Oh. Joseph Smith.